Good afternoon. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our invited guest today, Dr. Erin McKenzie from Western Sydney University. Dr. Erin is a Director of Academic Postgraduate Specialist Program. Erin is also the Dean of School of Education. And Mr. Faisal Musa, he is the IB Development and Recognition Manager looking after Southeast Asia. Welcome, Erin and Faisal. How are you today?
Really well, thank you. How are you?
Great.
Yeah, we're good. So thank you very much for your time joining our webinar discussion today. So as we know that the Australian education system is recognized as one of the world-class standards, which offer high quality and comprehensive curriculum. And besides that, the IB has been present in over 150 countries throughout the world, offer a very challenging education program to students, with its mission is to create a better world through education. So in our conversation today, we would like to share with our Vietnamese parents and students some insightful information about the Australian education system, especially with the senior secondary curriculum and the IB diploma program from two our experts here, Dr. Erin and Faisal. So, Erin, can I please start with you first? Can you just share a little bit about your experience in the industry and your current role?
Yeah, sure. So, I began my career as a secondary school science teacher in an independent girls' school where I taught biology, chemistry and physics. After completing my PhD, I became a lecturer in the School of Education at Western Sydney University. And that's where my current role is now. So I lecture in the areas of science and STEM education, but also in educational psychology.
That's wonderful.
So in this role, I work with university students who are training to become high school teachers, especially those who are in the STEM and science areas.
Oh, wonderful. And how about you, Mr. Faisal? Can you share with us about IB organizations and your role in IB?
Thanks for the question. So the IB is a global leader in international education where we develop knowledgeable, confident and caring young people. IB program empower school-age students to take ownership in their own learning and help them develop future-ready skills to make a difference and thrive in a world that changes fast. The IB provides four programs, a continuum of programs and designed to develop well-rounded individuals who can respond to today's challenges with optimism and open mind. In the IB, I'm the Development and Recognition Manager for Southeast Asia region, and I work for the IB Global Center in Singapore. I work with schools in Southeast Asia region interested in offering IB program. I also build long-term relationship with higher education institutions and accrediting bodies to ensure student pathway will be available, and I also maintain relationship with government.
Oh, thank you, Faisal. That's very interesting and challenging to work in Southeast Asia. So, Erin, just come back with you. Can you please share with us? So, what are the core values and the unique of the Australian education, and how is the Australian education structure in general?
Yeah, sure. So, in a broad sense, education in Australia is guided by two goals that were identified in the Alice Springs Education Declaration. So the first goal in the declaration was that Australian education systems promote excellence and equity. So this really emphasises the importance of high quality teaching and meeting the needs of all children. The second goal of the declaration was that all young Australians become confident and creative individuals and successful lifelong learners. So this goal really places a lot of importance on supporting children to develop skills in critical thinking, problem solving, cultural awareness and things like that. And so these big sort of broad level goals translate to an increasing focus on teaching skills as well as content across all of our levels of education. So Australian schools follow the Australian curriculum, which was developed by the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority, or ACARA for short. And there are three components of the Australian curriculum. There's the learning areas or subjects. There's also general capabilities and also cross-curriculum priorities. So in kindergarten, all the way up to year 10, there are 8 learning areas, which are English, mathematics, science, humanities and social sciences. the arts, technologies, health and physical education, and languages. So within all of those subjects, the general capabilities are also addressed to add depth and skills for student learning. And then finally, we also have 3 cross-curriculum priorities, which are 3 key areas that are addressed for the benefit of all students and those that they interact with. And so these cross-curriculum priorities are Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia, and also sustainability. So they're sort of broad level, I guess, the way that the curriculum is structured. So students generally study each learning area from kindergarten all the way up through to year 10.
Yes.
In primary school, which is generally up to year 6, students usually learn most, if not all, of their subjects with the same teacher and class. But in high school, which is year 7 through year 12, they have different teachers and classes for each subject.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Erin. That's very, very insightful and very clear for the 3 different years level, especially with primary, secondary, and senior secondary. Faisal, I would like to ask you, so what is a IB mission statement and how significant is the IB learner profile for IB students in general?
A great question. Thank you. The IB mission states that the IB aims to develop inquiring, knowledgeable and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through intercultural understanding and respect. To this end, the IB organization works with schools, governments and international organizations to develop challenging programs of international education and rigorous assessment. This program encourages students across the world to become active, compassionate and lifelong learners who understand that other people with their differences can also be right. And for over 50 years, our 4 IB programs provide a solid, consistent framework and the flexibility to tailor students' education according to their culture and context. IB programs enable teachers to develop resilient, self-motivated young people who have the knowledge, skills, and sense of purpose they need to thrive throughout their life and contribute to making the world a better place. And meanwhile, the aim of all IB programs is to develop internationally minded people who recognize their common humanity and shared guardianship of the planet, as well as helping to create a better and more peaceful world. So the IB learner profile represents 10 attributes valued by IB World School. So as IB learners strive to be inquirers, knowledgeable, thinkers, communicators, principled, open-minded, caring, risk-takers, balanced and reflective. So those are the 10 IB learner profiles. And we believe these attributes and others like them can help individuals and groups become responsible members of local, national and community.
Oh, thank you, Faisal. I just come back to the points that Erin just shared with us before, and I felt there's some similarities here that the core values is we want the student to become, a global mindset and a lifetime learner, right? So Erin, can we go a little bit more specific into the Australian Senior Secondary Certificate, which is year 10 to 12? So how is the senior secondary curriculum was designed in alignment with the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority, ACARA?
Yeah, sure. So it's actually in the final 2 years of school, so year 11 and 12, students study the senior secondary Australian curriculum. So while all of the different states have, different syllabuses and certification rules, all of them use the content and achievement standards that are aligned with the curriculum that is released by the Australian Curriculum Assessment and Reporting Authority. So ACARA has a senior secondary curriculum for the subjects of English, mathematics, science, and humanities and social sciences. So this means that all students in Australia, regardless of whether they are in New South Wales, Victoria or South Australia, for example, they will all cover the same outcomes and content, for each of those subjects. It also means that they'll also be assessed using the same levels or standards of achievement, because these are also set by ACARA.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. So back to Faisal. Can you please share with us a little bit more about the IB program? As we know that the IB actually provides an internationally accepted qualification for entry pathway to higher education, and it was recognized by many universities around the world. So can you share with us the IB diploma program in more details?
Okay, it's one of my favorite questions.
Yes.
As of August 2000, just to for information, as of August 2021, there were over 7,500 programs, because IB offer 4 programs, 3 to 19 years old, and being offered worldwide across over 5,500 schools in 159 countries. And in Vietnam, there has been an IB school since 1996, and then 17 authorized IB schools, and all 17 schools offer IB diploma program. The IB diploma program, or commonly known by IB stakeholders as DP, was established in 1968 since the foundation of the IB, and it is for students aged 16 to 19 years old, or the final 2 years of the high school. So DP is one, as mentioned, is one of the world's most popular qualification and most innovative educational courses for high school students. And DP curriculum is made up of 6 subject groups, and the DP core comprising theory of knowledge, TOK, creativity, action service, CAS, and the extended ACE. Through the DP core, students reflect on the nature of the knowledge, complete independent research, and undertake a project that often involves community service. And for the DP courses, students choose courses from these subject groups, studies in language and literature, language acquisition, individual and society, sciences, mathematics, and the arts. 6 subjects in total, and subject can be taken at standard level and higher level. For higher level, it is for 240 hours for the 2 year of the DP, and standard level 150 teaching hours for the 3 year of the DP. So the 3 core elements of the DP, as mentioned just now, TOK, in which students, theory of knowledge, in which students reflect on the nature of knowledge and on how we know what we claim to know. And the extended essay, EE, which is an independent, self-directed piece of research, finishing with a 4,000-word paper. And creativity action service has, in which students complete a project related to those 3 concepts. DP enjoys a high level of respect and recognition among the world's higher education institutions. For student success in the IB often result in advanced standing, course credit, scholarship, and other admission-related benefits at many universities.
Yep, thank you, Faisal. So, Erin, I would like to get back to you regarding, we just discussed about the senior secondary curriculum and the ACAR. So, I understand that the Australian curriculum has a very robust framework to follow, especially with the regulations, the government regulation. So can you share with us what are the specifications and framework for the curriculum in terms of teaching and learning and assessment and the applications of knowledge and skills?
Yeah, so the Australian curriculum for each of the subjects specifies the content, which is the knowledge, understanding and skills that are taught and learned. It also specifies the achievement standards for each subject. So those identify the depth of understanding and how sophisticated the skills are expected to be from the students. So there are 15 different senior secondary subjects across English, mathematics, science, history and geography that are endorsed by ACARA. Students can choose which subjects they study for the Australian Senior Secondary Certificate. Usually you would be looking at studying probably 6 subjects in year 11, and then some students then shift to 5 subjects for year 12 for the final year. Each subject includes 4 units, and so those 4 units are studied over 2 years. This means that each unit takes about half of the school year to complete, and there are 4 to 6 learning outcomes for each of those units. And some of them will focus on knowledge and understanding, while others will focus on skills. So, for example, in the senior biology curriculum, there are outcomes written around science inquiry skills, science as a human endeavour, but also around science content and understanding. The approaches to assessment are usually really varied and provide students with multiple opportunities to demonstrate what they know and what they can do. So there is a limit to how much of the assessment can be exam-based, and so that ensures that students are also assessed in different ways, such as through portfolios and essays and projects.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Just a little question to expand my knowledge more regarding what you just said. So those unit subjects, how does it link to the subject that the student would choose to study at university later on in their major?
Yeah, so many of the Australian universities do not have prerequisite knowledge, but it's definitely, particularly in areas like science and mathematics, it is quite important for students to have the background, because it really helps them as they transition into university. But it's for most Australian universities, it's not that they cannot then study those subjects later on, but it definitely gives them, a smoother trajectory, I think, into tertiary study.
Yeah, smooth transition to university. Yeah, exactly. And Faisal, can you please explain a little bit more about what are the unique and the feature, the critical difference of the IB diploma curriculum as compared to the other pre-university qualifications? So what are the main benefits of the IB diploma to students when they transition to university?
Okay. So I will talk more about the IB diploma program, because that is my expertise. Yeah. So yes, the IB diploma program, or IBDP, is as mentioned earlier, it is an internationally recognized curriculum. There are many features that make it unique to as compared to other pre-university qualifications. So I will just share some of those. DP is a DP student. They are required to take 3 higher level subjects and 3 standard level subjects, as mentioned before. There is a mixture of coursework and exam-based assessment for certain subjects, mimicking the assessment system at university. Student must take the extended essay, as mentioned before, theory of knowledge, CAS, in addition to the 6 academic subjects. The EE and TOK contribute to the overall score at the end of the 2-year program. For the EE, student will practice university level research and writing skill at high school. Every IB diploma student is required to write a 4,000-word research essay that is structured like a university level independent research. Students choose a topic based on a subject they are taking, form a hypothesis, collect data and analyze and present their finding. The research topic must be original, new, and present result or a point of view that has never been discussed before. CAS stands for Community Action Service, and it is non-academic mandatory subject. CAS gets students involved in their local community to find a way to improve the society they are part of and sensitize them to social issues. CAS is an important part of the personal growth section of the IB and helps students become well-rounded individuals. TOK, the student will be required. The subject are not taught in isolation as the subject of theory of knowledge, create and interdisciplinary link. TOK challenges students to question what they know and how they know it. TOK is assessed through a 1,600 essay as well as an oral presentation. An example of a TOK essay question is something like, there is no such thing as neutral question. Evaluate this statement with reference of 2 areas of knowledge. So this type of questions stimulate original thinking in students, which is what the IB strive to encourage. And meanwhile, the exam tests conceptual and practical understanding of a subject as opposed to rote learning. Therefore, all test assessment are written in a way that check whether they can apply the concept in new situation. For example, a physics higher level question on motion may ask them to explain the concept of displacement and how to prove it. The same rigor carries over into all subjects. An English higher level question may ask them to compare the usage of metaphors between two books. Such questions test their understanding beyond the fact and require them to use students' critical thinking skills. So those what I mentioned just now will bring benefit to the student. I also would like to highlight that other key benefit for DP student will be in terms of the recognition and university credit, as DP is recognized worldwide. Other benefit to student, second part of your question, DP increase academic opportunity. Research shows that DP graduates are much more likely to be enrolled at top higher education institutions than entrants holding other qualification. You can find this research conducted by various research organizations and universities on NABI website. IB students care more about result than just result. Through creativity action service or CAS, students will learn outside the classroom and develop emotionally and ethically as well as intellectually. And then graduates are globally minded, where language classes, DP students are required to take at least 2 languages. Language classes encourage an international mindset, key for increasingly globalized societies. Subjects are not taught in isolation. TOK classes encourage students to make connection between subject. And finally, DP students develop a lot of skill, including time management skill, research skill, interpersonal skill, critical thinking skills, and many more.
Thank you, Faisal. That's a very solid curriculum for the DB student, and I'm sure that it's very challenging too. So, Dr. Erin, just want to come back with you because many of Vietnamese parents and students are fairly interested in knowing more about, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEAM. STEAM is a very popular term in Vietnam now. So, could you please share with us about STEAM and what STEAM education's emphasis on? And how STEAM is linked to the Australian year from year 11 to year 12 curriculum?
Thank you. Yeah, sure. So STEM, obviously refers to the subject science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And when we talk about STEM in schools, it usually means we're teaching several of these subjects at the same time, but in an integrated way. So STEM fields are viewed as being important for economic growth and innovation. STEM skills are key to increasing the quality of the workforce and related research. STEM skills are also viewed as highly transferable skills that increase employability in non-STEM areas as well. So STEM education contributes to the development of scientific literacy, and so that allows individuals to really think critically about science and use scientific understanding to make evidence-based decisions. So STEM education emphasises the importance of developing skills like problem solving, creativity, inquiry, critical thinking, and collaboration. Yep. Importantly, it's also really about applying these skills in the real world. So the reality is that scientists and engineers use mathematics, science, and technology skills in a very integrated way. So STEM education is really focused on giving students the opportunity to experience this integration. In the Australian 11 to 12 curriculum at the moment, the STEM subjects are still taught separately, but because the overarching focus of the Australian curriculum is still there, the emphasis on skills is still sort of paralleled across the different science strands like biology, chemistry, and physics, but also through mathematics and technologies as well. But up to, from primary school up to year 10, it's increasingly common in Australia to see integrated STEM subjects where, science is taught alongside mathematics and technology, for example.
Yep, thank you, Erin. That's very informative because in Vietnam, as I said, that parents are very interested in the area of engineering and science in general, and they encourage their students to take to the university pathway studying engineering and science. Faisal, I just have one more question related to the recognitions of IB diploma. So how IB diploma was recognized by universities worldwide, both in Vietnam and also at the international level?
Okay. So as mentioned earlier, there are over 5,000 IB schools worldwide in 159 countries. And IB students send exam results to higher institutions in nearly 90 countries annually. Yeah, given the wide diversity of local education system, it can be difficult to understand how the IB is recognized in various parts of the world. And higher education institutions around the world admit students based on their IB credentials, and many have specific policies and guidelines for IB students. Admission criteria can be different widely across educational systems and selectivity of the institution and students and audience. Yeah, you may visit individual website for the most up-to-date information on how the IB is recognized. The IB also has recognition database on our website, and there are many testimonials from top universities. For example, that I can quote here is in comparison to the UK's A level. The director of admission at the University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom in 2010, through the Telegraph newspaper, said that because the IB differentiates better than A level, if we are hesitating about making an offer at all, we would be more likely to make an offer to IB students than A level students. So, as mentioned earlier, you can find the information about the recognition of IB programs in Vietnam and worldwide on IB website, www.ib.org. If any of the audience, also will be interested in on the research outcome of DP and impact to students, you can visit IB website as well. There are various research reports are available and conducted by various research organizations and top universities worldwide. And I just want to add that to ensure the relevance of the DP with the current demand expectation by universities and employers, the IB works consistently to make sure that DP is globally recognized by universities with its student gain competitive offers for further study. And all DP curriculums are reviewed on a 7-year teaching cycle to ensure that each is fit for purpose in changing world and incorporate the latest educational research and lesson learned from a thorough evaluation of the existing curriculum.
Oh, thank you, Faisal. So it means that the curriculum is is always being assessed to maintain the qualities of the teaching and learning assurance. Thank you, Faisal. To get back to Erin, just a very similar question too. We would like to know how the Australian Senior Secondary Certificate of Educations, like SAE or VCE or HSCs for New South Wales, for those degree, how it is internationally recognized for university pathway in Australia and outside Australia?
Yeah, sure. So each state in Australia has its own senior secondary certificate of education. So you've mentioned a couple of them there, like the SACE, the VCE and the HSC. So even though there are the different certificates and assessment processes, all align with the national curriculum. All of those certificates, such as the High School Certificate, the Victorian Certificate of Education, and the South Australian Certificate of Education are all internationally recognised, and students can use them to gain entry to universities, in many different countries, and of course all universities in Australia will accept those certificates as well as entry for the university study as well.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. The reasons of that question is actually related to because we are going to offer the the Australian curriculum offshore, and many parents would like to know, whether the degree offshore is being recognized in Australia and the other countries are not, and it is a yes.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Erin and Faisal. All of your sharing today is very informative and very insightful. And I hope that the parents and the students would be benefited from this. So again, thank you, and we appreciate a lot for your time sharing with us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.